Okay, we are recording. Hello, Aurora. How are you today?
Hey Jesse, I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. So how are you feeling after last week's session or 2 weeks ago session? Let me just fill me in.
So I did keep a notebook by my bedside table, but I didn't have any dreams that I could remember until last night. I think because I was coming up on session time and I'm home. I don't know. I think it was more so because I've been thinking about this session. So I actually had two dreams last night. One of them was, oh shit, now I don't know if I'm going to remember them or not. I didn't write them down because I got home and I unpacked and I didn't remember to put the notebook by my bed. But I woke up this morning and I thought about them twice and was like, okay, remember. One of them was really disturbed me and I did not like it. And the other one was just weird. I was like, what? I don't know. The other one was odd. Bother me. It didn't bother me like the first one did.
Yeah. So we'll get into those soon. I'd love to hear about them. How how's it going with your stage fright of performing in your son's play?
So we did it, and it went fine. I was able to just watch him and enjoy him, just kind of pull from his happiness about being on stage and excitement about performing and having mom there with him. So I had two lines and sucked it up, and I still hate it. It made me incredibly anxious, but it wasn't something that I it wasn't it wasn't something I would have ever said no to, because I would rather see the joy that he gets of it than tell him no because I'm so anxious about it. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like that. I just don't like it. I just don't want to be on stage. It's
Yeah.
not my thing. So I did it. Um, and he was really excited and happy, and I'm just happy it's over.
I like seeing like how bright and excited you seemed when you talk about your son and giving him that experience. That it seems like you're really willing to do whatever it takes to like give your family, like provide for your family in like a emotional support way as well as other ways.
I just noticed, so we just got back from vacation and I noticed my mother being like, oh, you're not going to like that. It's spicy. I'm like, Mom, don't let him figure that out. Because the
Yeah.
kids actually kind of like a little bit of spice. Sometimes it's too much, but my sister owns a restaurant and a taco restaurant, a fish taco restaurant, and they make white sauce, and it's got some chili flakes in it, so it's got a nice warmth to it. And she thought it would be too spicy, and I was like, let them figure that out. If it's too spicy, I'll get them a piece of bread, some milk, whatever it is to help them. But don't put that idea into their head that they're not going to like it. She's like, yeah, I guess you're right. So with the acting stuff, he likes it. I don't. But that doesn't mean he can't like it.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure I'm supporting them always in what they want to experience and do, as long as it's safe.
Hmm.
Um, I'd prefer they steer clear of football,
Yeah.
um, but I'm not going to tell them how bad and stupid and harmful it can be to their bodies. If that is something they want to try, I will not make face at it. I will be supportive and shove other sports at them to hope they like that more. So,
Yeah.
as with two boys, that is a large fear of mine, that they want to play football and that they will get hurt. I mean, it's a fear of anybody who has kids that they're going to get hurt, but
Yeah.
they're going to get hurt. Um, I just would like to discourage football immensely.
Yeah. I can Yeah, I could see how that would be anxiety producing. Luckily, you have some time before they're like old enough, probably. Or do they
Ugh.
really young these days?
Unfortunately, in Texas,
Oh,
football is king, I think. Not as much here in the city, thankfully. It still is a large one, but I think they can play flag football 4 or 5, and he's 4.
hmm.
So we just ignore it. My husband doesn't watch it, thankfully. And he doesn't really know what it is. He's seen it a few times on TV, but
Your son.
I don't like it. Yeah, he's seen it a few times. Because my husband is really into sports, but thankfully he's Australian, so he doesn't watch American football. He'll watch their football, which is like rugby league or rugby union when he can, but a lot of the times he has to stream it, so it'll just be on his computer and the kids will be doing something else, so they don't see that either. He watches cricket, and that's somewhat similar to baseball, which I'm happy if they want to play that. And I'm very thankful we don't have cricket here, because that is a all day, sometimes 5-day long game. And
Wow.
so I just don't want to sit there. Like, I got other things to do. Can't we go do like something else other than play cricket all day long? But my husband grew up with it and absolutely adores it. Oh, it's so boring. I'd rather watch golf.
Wow.
Which is equally as boring. But, that's beyond the point. So yeah. So just trying to make sure I don't put I'm really just trying to be cognizant that I don't push my hatred or dislike of something that they're willing to try.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like acting, and he obviously does. So away we went with it.
Yeah. I'm hearing that you put your children first, and there's a lot of consideration for their wants.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering in what ways, like in this moment and in other moments when you're not with your kids, or even when you are with your kids, are you able to put the focus more on yourself and um, kind of give yourself what you need? And are you able to have you noticed, do you have a routine of caring for yourself?
So after my second son was born, that came to light a lot more. I saw myself getting really wrapped up and upset at my husband, because he would go out, and because I was breastfeeding, I would have to stay home or not want to go out because I was waking up twice in the middle of the night to breastfeed our second son, and because he wouldn't take a bottle. Like, I tried multiple times. I was willing to pump and put it in a bottle and my husband was willing to help out and go upstairs and feed him a bottle once a night so that I could get more sleep, but he wouldn't take it. I think we tried 20 different bottles, and it was not working. And because this second time around, my body was functioning to produce milk for the full year, his first full year of life. I didn't want to do formula. And my husband was like, okay, I'm willing to support you in that, but I can't help you at night. And I'm like, I get it. So after that, and talking to a few other moms, it was like, I have forgotten a little bit about me. And it is okay to leave the kids with my husband and go out for a few hours, even if it is just a few hours. That it's okay to leave my husband. He's completely qualified to take care of them, and leave them. It's a little bit of, I have to pull back on the reins. He's not going to do it the exact same way I do, but we are together in our thought process of, if this happens, here's how we handle that. Or you need to be this, if you take him to the pool, you have to be within arm's length of the older son, and the younger son can't swim by himself yet, so you have to be holding him, even in a floaty. Because my husband's really good about letting them experience stuff and be independent, whereas I am am not so much.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is that, if you don't mind me interjecting, what I'm hearing is that there's a certain amount of control that you like to have over your family and over your children, and that it's difficult for you to surrender and be vulnerable with your husband and your kids. And I'm
Yep.
also noticing that it seems like a lot of the meaning that you get from life comes from being in a family, taking care of children. It seems like that correct me if I'm wrong and we can talk about this, but it seems like that gives you a lot of meaning and kind of gives you a reason to wake up in the morning.
Um, I definitely have a hard time letting go of control. My husband has been wonderful, patient, and helpful with that, and letting me kind of just get upset with myself and take a step back and let me work through it. Occasionally he gets cranky at me. That's due to his own stress. But he's very supportive in letting me work through what I need to work through so that I can rely on him. And that took a while for me to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what he was, or maybe that's even what I needed, was for him just to take a step back. I used to get mad at him. I really like having a family. It's something I knew I always wanted. And I think I found the right person to have the family with, because I do feel I can rely on him. And he's shown me that. There are a few times, but whatever. He's not been where I want him to be, but that's okay. We're a work in progress. We're still figuring it out. But I'm still working on the vulnerability part of myself with him. And I think that's hard for me because I don't get it from him. But that is something I want from him. And I'm not sure if I've said that to him in those terms. I want you to be more vulnerable with me. But it is something I'm aware of, that I want that from him. And that would, but I feel like I need to show him more vulnerability from me to get him to do it.
And how does it feel right now talking about asking him to be more vulnerable? Like, how does that feel in your body, and how does that sit with you in this moment when you think about the idea of broaching the topic of him being more vulnerable with you?
I'm okay to ask him, but the fact that I feel I have to be more vulnerable to show him makes me feel all tight and like I want to curl up inside the little box that I hold in my chest and keep all my shit in. And I don't want to bother with it. Like, no. I just want him to be vulnerable with me. I don't want to do this too.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm noticing a trend in between today's session and the session from 2 weeks ago. I'm noticing a trend of kind of pulling in and not wanting to be performative or vulnerable, because in the like 2 weeks ago it was about your son's play, and now I'm noticing that occurring again with being able to be open and vulnerable your your husband while still like maintaining your authenticity at the same time.
Yeah, being vulnerable is something that's been difficult for me always.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was ever really shown that as a kid, that it's okay to be vulnerable. My father was a workaholic, and we never saw much emotion from him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my mom was just so stressed that we only saw anxiety and anger from her. So being vulnerable, being okay with feelings, like when I would cry, it was all right, stop crying because it's getting you nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm upset. Can I not be upset? Can we not talk about how upset I am right now? Like, granted, it's stupid because I can't wear the pink dress or whatever it is that I wanted, and I'm having a temper tantrum about it, but can I not have those emotions? Mom, Dad, hello? So even when we were back home, my dad has admitted to that he wasn't around much when we were little kids. And that when kids don't act the way they're supposed to, because kids are supposed to act some way out in public or even in general, that he gets really worked up and anxiety and comes out for him even because he doesn't know what to do with it. I'm like, seriously, Dad? So that was kind of an interesting, eye-opening conversation to have with him, that he can't handle that stuff. And that's part of that was why he wasn't around. And he has admitted to letting my mother just deal with it. That's helpful, Dad. Yeah. But I didn't know that. So being vulnerable is not something I'm good at. I'm aware of this. And it still scares me to be vulnerable and to allow that part of me to come out, because I feel like it'll just be shut down again, I think. Or it won't be accepted the way I need it to, maybe.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is because of like this wonderful description you gave of your childhood and your family life, and you've derived a lot of insight from that, it seems. That because of your specific familial circumstances, that now as an adult you find it difficult being vulnerable because you were never taught that was okay.
Definitely.
So, yeah. So finding meaning seems like you're finding meaning in it seems like you're very aware and able to recite and talk about your life story and life events, and then be able to find the insight there and attribute meaning to it. Especially when it comes to trends in being able to express certain emotions. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I've always felt like I was searching for something, some kind of meaning for myself. Like, why did this happen? Mm-hmm. Why can I not express this? Or why do I not understand how this worked out? Or why did my parents get divorced? And how did that affect me? So I just try to be aware of that for purposes. And I try to be really aware of what I bring to the table from my own past. How does that affect my kids? And it's going to, like, I need to give myself, I feel like I give myself a bit of a break with them. Like, nobody knows how to do it all just right. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. And neither do I. So making sure I'm just trying with them, and I'm trying to be present and pay attention to them and be aware of my own feelings. And when I do have feelings and like I get mad at my oldest son, I recover. I think we talked about that last time. Just recovering, like that it's okay to get mad and upset and angry and cry, but then how do you work through it and recover, and to make it a better situation, and not, because I often harbor, or I used to just keep that anger with me. Yeah. And didn't talk about it. And then I was just angry a lot.
Yeah.
Really just being authentic with my kids. And if I get mad, I get mad. And then I say, hey, I got mad. Mom got mad because you did this, and I'm just trying to get your dinner together and you're yelling at me. Like, that doesn't make mommy feel good. So yeah, mommy yelled at you back. That doesn't make it right. So I'm apologizing to you, and I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, type thing. And he seems pretty reflective and receptive of that stuff. Mm-hmm.
And how does it feel for you talking about this right now? Not only talking about, getting into conflict with your son, but also you bringing up these kind of difficult times in your childhood, the divorce of your parents. How is that sitting with you right now?
I feel defensive about it almost.
Mhm.
You know what? I actually, I think I feel kind of angry about that.
Angry about what in particular?
I don't know.
Okay.
Um, just maybe anger at my parents for not having their own realization or just allowing me to experience some feelings. And I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Hmm.
great when you come upon conundrums like that, because then you get this wonderful opportunity to explore your feelings and explore what meaning you can get from these experiences that you've had. And it's all open ended, where there's no definitive answer. It's a lot more just, can you sit with yourself and your emotions and just derive insight, which I've noticed so much insight coming out of you today.
Thanks. That feels nice. Because that's all I feel like I can control.
Yeah. And like
So
here and now. Yeah.
yeah, like you said in the beginning, I tend to control things,
Mm-hmm.
and in some circumstances, I don't get to control all of it, but I can control how I respond and react, and I can control, I guess, my feelings, but that it's okay to have
Mm-hmm.
other feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I loved what you just said, because that's kind of the entire uh, background behind existential therapy. Is you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to it. And with that comes the compassion and the understanding that when you act in ways that maybe would be considered maladjusted or bad behavior, to give yourself the forgiveness to move forward and not to be hung up on those. And I've noticed that you are able to forgive yourself when you I mean, in one of your conversations about your child, you were short with him, but then you forgave yourself, and you were able to reconcile and come to a really good place.
yeah.
So I really appreciate hearing you tell your personal story and deriving meaning from it. And
Thanks.
if you want to, would you be interested in going into a little bit of dream work, or talking about your dream a little bit?
If I'll try to remember, because honestly, right now I'm like, I had these two dreams and I was excited, and I guess I analyzed. I had these dreams and I remember them because we were meeting today and we talked about keeping a notebook at my bed and stuff. So I was really excited, and now I can't remember.
If not, I mean, if you're interested in going back to the dream that we talked about 2 weeks ago, I would I'm interested in what you see in it, like where you derive meaning and where you derive insight from that dream. If
The
you
one in my garage with the shooter and stuff.
if it's okay to talk about,
Silly about.
we don't have to talk about it this session, but
I mean, it's interesting. I guess I feel it's silly. I feel it's something that was in the past that had meaning, but maybe doesn't hold meaning for me anymore.
okay. And
But I'm okay to talk about it. Maybe that'll give me some other insight into where I was able to let it go, or what I've worked on that did let go of it, I guess. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So I'm okay to talk about it. I don't, I mean, it was such a silly, to me anymore, it was such a silly dream. I always remember just waking up and being like, this is the weirdest dream, and how horrible is it? Um,
I feel like no matter how silly a person considers their dreams, that they are, in fact, a key to, um, they are, in fact, useful no matter what, and that they can reveal insights. And
Right.
I also feel like um, it's part of the work of the individual to derive their own meaning from things like dreams.
Okay.
And yeah, as silly as they might seem, all dreams are messages from your unconscious, and
Yeah.
they are expressions of your inner feelings and your hopes and your fears.
So that was happening when we moved to Virginia. I had a really hard time adjusting.
Mhm.
Um, like my mom and dad had me talk to the counselor at school. That was, she was nice, but I just was like, this is stupid. I'm not talking to you. I kind of knew that. No, I didn't know. I don't know. That was a way I could control things to piss them off, or so I thought,
Mhm.
which in all actuality, it only hurt me. But I was young.
Mhm.
So the shooting, and it was always my sisters and the twin girls that lived across the street. And nobody ever died, but I just remember there being boxes, and this was around the time. So I learned recently my dad had an affair with someone when we lived in Hawaii, which is where we moved from to Virginia. I don't think it was a long thing because we were only in Hawaii for a year. But my mom found out about it, and in Virginia, I don't feel she was there for me emotionally. I remember I would come home from school and she would be in the chair upstairs in my dad's office just watching daytime soaps. And she was like, all right, you guys are home. Do you want a snack? You got homework. Let's do stuff. I've got to cook dinner.
So what I'm hearing is there was like a lack of engagement from your mother, following the affair that your father had. That there might.
Yeah, I just don't remember her being as present as maybe she was in Hawaii.
Uh-huh.
And you're really pushing me to work with my memory. So maybe I had something.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard so many insights already. They don't have to be these like earth shattering like revelations, but what I've heard
Right.
from you already is so significant in just deriving meaning, deriving like a sense of like what your personal like fears are or whatever come coming from.
Yeah, maybe the whole thing was nobody ever died, so I don't feel like somebody was taken from me, but maybe I felt like something was being taken from me, but not really, because no one ever died in the in the dream.
Uh-huh.
But the fear of something being taken from me was definitely, I think, occurring.
Mhm.
And I don't like to hurt.
Yeah.
It's something I've always run away from.
Mhm.
I still run away from it. I still have occasionally irrational fears. But at this stage in life, it's more like, well, if that does happen, how are you going to deal with that? Because that's how I can control that,
Mhm. Yeah.
as opposed to just being irrationally fearful of my husband taking the kids to the pool and letting them have their independence. Like, hey, the 2-year-old doesn't swim, so don't give him that much independence, dude. It's just some days, talking to him, I'm like, what are you thinking? So So I guess maybe that dream was me not being able to cope with the possibility of hurt or or losing my mother. But I wasn't able to think about it at that time in that way.
It's it's wonderful hearing you like go through this process right now, and how present you are with those memories, and your ability to make these connections. And I I'm noticing like a trend here of the fear of vulnerability come up again and again and again,
Yeah.
and as one of maybe your underlying fears, and um, noticing that come up when you talk about the dream as well, and your life circumstances surrounding the dream. Um, Unfortunately, we are out of time today. As much as I would love
Okay.
to be talking about this, because you're really giving some great insight. I just, it's wonderful to watch you uh, kind of derive meaning from your life experiences and your dream. So I really enjoyed working with you today. And
Thanks.
is there any last thing that you feel like you need to share?
No. Thank you for pushing me to think about that silly dream again. Because I honestly, as much as I try to reflect on things in my own life and stuff, I never hadn't thought about that dream until you asked. And I wouldn't have thought about it again unless you asked.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. I don't know. It is interesting. I am afraid to be vulnerable because it might hurt.
Mm.
So. You did good. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, over the next couple weeks, I guess, just love it if you could explore that a little bit more and notice when it comes up. Just
Mm,
in the present moment, as you're living your life, notice when that fear of vulnerability comes up, and just acknowledge
definitely.
it. And um, nothing more than that. Just the noticing is really a big thing. Um,
Yeah, it is.
but thank you so much for coming in today, and I really look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
Thanks. Me too,
Okay.
actually. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.